I understand what you're saying, and it's really true. Brian, we just dropped him in the middle of it, and he's being him, right? But he's we'll see if he wants to change or not.
Yep.
That's it.
And I think it's up to us to make it more clear what we're asking the change for. He did resist in our call. I said, "Can I go over some things?" I just want to talk about this and this and this. Like he resisted the whole idea of let me cover some things with you, which a lot of people do when we're adults. I personally will never read the instructions on anything beforehand. I want to do it first and then it is what it is. So I am speaking to Brian, the human being, who I said I'm going to help you build Minion Management Service. I hope you took a lot of notes of what we just talked about, because literally what Phil just said is exactly what you need to help build out. Because if you build this out, this is what everybody wants. How do I onboard people into a new way of working?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're connecting the dots on that? Good.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
We'll talk about this on next week. So please.
Okay, cool.
Please take notes. And I did not record, so I just started recording because I realized, oh my gosh, I'm engaged. I'm too engaged in this conversation.
Are you sending out email, Scott, with the?
I'm having a tough. The form that went through Polaris, I can't.
No, yeah, that one's like the results. You have to go get the one on growth enablement and then pop it into your browser, and then you can actually fill it out. So there's one in growth enablement that came in as well. And that one that went through Polaris is like the master form.
And that's how you get to see the scores. This is what's so frustrating. I spent hours on this thing, and it's just, yeah. See, there you go. There's the responses.
Are we refilling?
Scott, you're saying. Go ahead, Dave.
Are we refilling out a new questionnaire?
Yeah, you're not refilling out. You're filling out the same questionnaire. You're filling out Conceptor Scorecard 2.
Okay, mine just went in. See,
I just got yours.
We already did from before.
What's that?
Hey,
On Monday.
I was the guy who gave you all ones on Monday, by the way.
He knows.
So I have an average of 3.
No.
No, this one rocked. And like I said, on Monday, one of the things you said today resonated with me. No one knew my situation over the weekend. And I said, holy fuck, he's so right. And so today, again, tails of the legs, here I am I'm saying he was right. I scored him inappropriately on Monday. So just letting you know. I'll
No, it's working. I can see the responses right away. This is cool.
Yeah, you did really well today. That was a home run.
Thanks,
I love the environment piece on it. Yeah, great.
Thank you.
For everyone's benefit, I called Tim afterwards, and I said,
It just reamed me. It was terrible.
Come on, that's not true at all. That's not cool. Did I ream you at all?
No, they know I'm joking.
Yeah. And I told him, I've spent all in about 8 hours trying to design this thing. So we have some structure that I can go through with Architect to repeat so we can make a more controllable environment. And Tim starts talking totally flippantly. And he just starts talking about how he likes change and his wife doesn't. And I told Tim, well, I thought what was going to happen was all of the work that I put together was for naught, because he was just going to walk through and stroll through. And Lambert, I was thinking he was going to walk through the 2 paths, and he was going to talk about he's on the other path and his wife's on the other path and how they figure it out. And then maybe 3 or 4 minutes into it, he realized the assignment is what he was doing, and then it just became super shitty, and I started laughing. So I had to go on mute while I was presenting because I was laughing because it was so obvious at the point in time when he became aware of what he was doing rather than just being himself.
Right.
I love that part. Anyway, so that's what I told him. Awesome. So see that this is the feedback that I want to learn how to do. I'd love to talk with you guys about how we set this up moving forward. I don't want to spend all the time because the whole purpose is to hear everybody else's feedback. But moving forward, I'd like to be able to use the Google technologies so that you can get more immediate feedback when we do other things like this. So that way, if you're not able to talk or share, or we don't want to have a 3-hour meeting or something like that, we can still get feedback, because I'm learning that feedback is critical in order to help create the environment for all of us to change. All right, so let's go next. Our next.
Hey, Scott.
Yep.
Walter here. Just to let you know, I'm traveling today, so I call him by phone. I can't fill out the form right now, and Tim, but I will. But Tim, that was awesome. It was kind of like in story form, so I can't see anything. It sounded like you made it in presenting slides, but it was really cool just hearing it.
Oh,
Yeah, but it was really
Seeing
cool
more beautiful women
in story form. It was great.
He went
Really
all
good.
old school advertising, and it was all hot chicks.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
There you go.
I am so glad we weren't recording it, because we would all go to prison.
Exactly.
yeah, I'll clean it up before I share it.
Yeah, he went all into the old school advertising age days.
Holy crap.
Yeah, it was awesome.
There you go.
It was.
The Mad Men version.
Yeah, right. He went all Mad Men on us.
I like the smoking baby picture. That was great.
So speaking of smoking baby, why don't you go next, Clarity?
You want Clarity to go next?
Yeah.
So, well, okay. I don't have any slides to show. By the way, Scott, I could not find the scores.
You have to hit that stupid pencil thing at the bottom right.
No, I think that there's a problem about whether or not he's in the Google site domain register or not. I don't know. I haven't figured it out for Walter's.
Yeah, so mine, it didn't check because I was
Basically, everybody said your thing sucked. I'm kidding. They didn't.
Why am I going again?
We can highlight that out, and you can go again on Monday when you have some slides if you want a deck. Walter had a Walter guys had a emergency where he had to go visit his house that he does the seances in. So he's got the house where he's the
seances, huh?
Where he's the ISIS prisoner, and then
I read about that.
where he does the seances.
I read about that.
Right.
They found that kidnapping victim in the basement, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, right.
That's right.
One of many. One of many.
So we'll let Walter go on. We'll put him on the spot. We'll just have him do it. Maybe on the account.
There you
go. And it'll be harder. We'll make him do it in front of Akiva or something. Good times.
Thanks.
No, no problem, Walter. I love you, buddy. All right.
There you go.
So how about we have Capability go next? Capability went last time, so we can go second.
Sure. Let me share my screen real fast. Okay, share.
Oh,
So-
nice. I like seeing that.
Oh, that was in many conversations today. So
Hey, by the way, that is Concept is such a good orb. I can't wait to see how we keep evolving. It's so good.
yeah.
Good. Glad you guys like it.
I think it's awesome.
So
Yeah, it is awesome.
yeah, I was I like it a lot. It made me really think about those relationships between the orb elements. So it's good. Very good. Yep, there you go, Dave. It's perfect. You're in the center of the environment.
Right.
So
Like Atlas.
So real briefly, this assignment, I sort of wanted to talk about the feedback. and spare you from my silent show again. But how does change actually happen? So as you remember, I talked about change happens when a system of nodes and connections is altered by the addition or deletion of a node or connection. And in our world today, the way I'm framing our world is this system can be of people, processes, information, and technology. So that's what the nodes can represent. And these can be a combination of these orchestration elements as well. So the way I pictured the nodes in the meeting was that they were all people, and it was the connections and relationships with those people and how that breaks down to cause VUCA to happen. So the more I thought about this, the more I thought about this week, it was that these are sort of like things or nouns, the nodes of these orchestration elements, and the connections represent different forces between the nodes, relationships, responsibilities, behaviors, and the experience byproduct of change is VUCA. And although we don't talk about FUD, FUD is another 3-letter acronym for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. In my last job, we always used to talk about how change was full of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And they are really subcomponents of VUCA, right? Because the uncertainty part could be fear, is also what causes fear, also causes doubt, and people question the environment. So that's how change, that's the byproduct of the change. On feedback, I wanted to sort of, a lot of people thought about, I looked at it as a scientific way and a different way of looking at change using the nodes and connections and how I positioned VUCA. That was some of the thoughts that came back through the process. When I looked at the survey results, my graph takeaways were that although the graphs provide clear visualization of the trends associated with the question, I felt lacking in some of the scores were low or were high, and would like follow-up comments to clarify what I could have improved on. If someone judged me with a 3, I said, well, why? What could have been better or worse? What pulled it down or brought it up? I didn't get that from providing a score, you know, those graphs. Something I sort of failed on and didn't realize it till this morning was we weren't asked the solution, but I went through my presentation and talked about the tools to combat change. That wasn't part of the assignment. The assignment was how change occurs, not how do you solve for change, which is something I went back and said, even though I believe these two things are really key for us helping us understand and help our people to change, that wasn't part of the assignment. And here are the charts. I just brought these in to show you. See, like on this first one, it says, did you take it seriously? And I said, okay, so some people thought I did it. I wonder why they didn't think that. So I like the charts from a visual perspective, but and this is like something to consider. They just left me sort of hanging, like, what does this mean? You know, so that's why I didn't find those as valuable as the actual open-ended questions that provided some comment back. So that's my that's my feedback session.
So how exactly does change happen then?
Change happens when a system of nodes or connections is altered by the addition or deletion of a node or connection.
I gotta call you the chemist.
That's awesome. Yeah.
That's the.
You know, I thought that Jen sort of liked your, because you presented that to Jen.
Yeah.
You got it just run, and I think she said that was really great. He speaks capability.
When I made it, you know, I was thinking of, I tried to get back to the principles, all the things that Scott has talked about, nodes and connections, VUCA, the 7 principles, the team, and I'm thinking the experience, all of that sort of led back to why I looked at it from the nodes and connections perspective. Because I said, it's something that we've talked about and it would resonate because we've all had an experience with it. And I thought that was a great way to show how change affects that system. So,
Hey, Phil, do me a favor and go to the questions, please.
this one,
Yeah, just any of those, right?
charts, yeah.
The charts. Why is your assumption that your teammates were judging you?
Because it's a score, it's a measurement.
Why, here's another question. Why is your assumption that a 3 is bad?
Right.
Because I only get A's.
So
I've been programmed by my parents throughout school that anything less than an A, it puts you in the dungeon with Walter. So I didn't want that.
So a 4 is good too.
Yeah, 4 isn't good either. No.
So since we're at the end here, and I get to share I get to reveal some things. Why did I have 2 sets of questions?
What you mean? One question was how change actually happens, and then the other was
No,
how
sorry.
change exactly happens.
In the feedback scores. Why did I have objective and subjective, open-ended and multiple choice?
Well, like I said, I found that the open-ended were so much more informative to me than having the subjective scores. Because the subjective score is like an NPS score, just leaves you hanging, wondering, great, we're a 7. What does that mean, right? And that's when I looked at this is how I felt. I said, great, that's a 3. What does that mean? Why? I didn't get the why.
Let's say one shows the changes or improvement between 2 different periods of time, and the other shows the context.
That could be. What I was trying to do is, first of all, when you think about this and you say, hey, how do I want our team to behave? How do I create an environment? One of the things that I'm trying to test is, what about the environment the company set up that they know for sure that just ain't so? And one of the things, Phil, to your point, these charts are what people expect when they see a survey result. Something like this. I need to see a score. That's their expectation. But they weren't useful for you. They don't really help. For me, I tried to word the question so that you would be curious about the key and interview your peers and ask them what was behind this score. Like, did you think the 3 was bad? What did you mean by 3? Oftentimes it's a cop-out by the surveyor. So part of the issue is I was hoping to get more discussion happening amongst our members to create more connections and more insight. But that's the difficulty when you try to chart out or measure human performance, right? There's so many different variables. How do you figure out what the variables are? And then also, how do you meet people's expectations? Because when you do a survey, this is what executives expect. They want to see pictures like this. But in my experience, none of that stuff, I had scores like this all the time for every keynote presentation that Forrester gave me. I could give a rat's ass about these scores. What I wanted to know is the feedback score by stakeholder. That's what was valuable to me. But our marketing department and the events people never really concentrated on this. So I had a lot of scores like this about cookies. What's the next location that you want to have? Total irrelevant crap, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about this is this gives us an opportunity to experience a bunch of things. How do we communicate an experience to customers when they want to expect scores that look like this? Is it really useful? Does it help change? Does it help change the environment? Does it help drive change? Or does it just make people feel measured? How useful is this?
Well, I think the scores, when you're having scores on different categories and you're comparing them, it helps you rank those categories. But these were just measurements of they weren't compared to anything. Like, how seriously did I take this assignment versus how seriously I took the last assignment? Now that might be helpful, but since it's not a time series score, but it's just a point in time score, and there's nothing to measure these scores against. Like, if I knew how this measured against my peers, that might mean more to me then. As a standalone score, it holds less value. I found this lacking. So I think having this compared to other scores to get that composite is helpful. I think the way we have the scores inside of the KPI dashboard is helpful because it will help them rank the propensity of the likelihood of churn, the likelihood, how they relate on with the performance scores across polls. That'll help you understand where they are in relationship to other things in that category. So,
Yeah.
so there, I think that visualization and graphs and all that is important. But I think when you're looking at a solitude event like this, and then you get these scores back, they felt lacking because I couldn't tie the why. Dave, this is an advertisement for Sim Machines. I couldn't tie the why to the 3, So
So we're going to move off of this, but what I want us to do is think about this stuff. We've got 4 elements of our orb. One of them is information.
Yeah.
What kind of information helps get a team to work together better? And it's really hard, guys. This is really, really, really hard. So I try to say the number one goal was I want to preach we need to be accountable to each other. What I was giddy. I told Brian this. I was giddy that I think in general, when I looked at all your scores, I think you guys scored your peers harder than I would have. So that made me happy because then I don't have to be the bad cop. If you guys all left your peers off the charts and I had to go be the bad cop for everybody, then this process doesn't work. So what I notice is if you want to create an environment for change, the catalyst role has to be the positive one. And then you guys have to hold yourselves accountable. If I'm holding you accountable and also trying to be the positive change, it doesn't work. It's one thing that I know. So what you guys did is held yourselves to a much higher standard than I would have. And that's another reason that I came out and said, hey, Tim's in the foxhole with me, gang. I want to make sure it's super, 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 super clear. And I called them afterwards to make sure it was really, really clear. And I'm way better when I'm being positive than when I'm scolding. I'm way better. So I think that these are all interesting things about how groups of people behave as they go through for change. I don't know the answer. Newsflash, information is going to be something that we work on next week. And part of it is how do we structure information that we collect experiential when people expect information to be presented in charts that look like this. And Phil, you said your experience was, so what? What does this tell me? Something that we're gonna need to move into next week. All right. Any other feedback on Phil's, guys, before we move on?
No, it's good. I'm willing to do it, by the way, Walt. I just want to riff. I just want to let it go. I got an idea.
Is Phil's form coming out separately, Scott, or is it all part of that one form you sent? I'm sorry.
I didn't send it out. I got wrapped up into the conversation myself. This is hard as heck to do, to be
I can imagine.
and administer things. Do you guys want to do the forms or no?
Yeah, especially after the conversation we just
I went back into the old form and filled that out.
Oh, you did? Let me send a new one because I'm trying to practice like the real-time feedback.
Okay.
Erwin, that looks so trippy behind you, dude.
I know.
You're like,
He's in the orb. He's one with the orb.
One with the orb. Well, the orb's the system, and I'm into the system, so this might be a permanent background.
and Tim, I'm glad you designed it where it didn't look like a pentagram behind there, because
No, I saved that for my other club.
no, nice.
is that a chocolate bar?
Scientology.
No, it's a power
Now we're
bar.
hungry. We're all hungry.
Did you make that
Sorry,
for
I had to go get something.
the pentagram?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
you're-
let's just let's skip Phil's because it'll take me too long to get that set up.
Yeah,
Okay.
you guys could just tell it to me to my face. I could take it.
Well done, Phil.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, that's another thing that I you know, you learn is people's scores that they give you when they think it's anonymous versus what they do to your face is so different.
Yeah.
I hope our team won't do that because that doesn't help anybody. All right, let's see, next person will be Detangler.
All right. Let me turn on my video. I was just eating a sandwich. Bologna, if you must know.
With
That sounds
cheese?
good.
Wow.
Yeah.
My wife will buy me bologna.
Put
It's good
cheese
to
on
have
it?
young kids in the house.
Do you fry it?
No, I didn't have time for that.
Mustard, mayonnaise?
Yeah, mustard. Yeah, mustard with the little cheese.
Okay, so that's the incorrect way. I'm kidding.
Is this in big screen mode?
Yeah.
Or- Okay, so part 2. So last time, so Monday I talked about these 3 things. So this week I was trying to live these 3 things and apply these because I said, hey, this is how change happens. So let me try to do that. So there were touch points throughout the week, interactions I call them, like Susan's call, and obviously with Dave, architect, and then the Catalyst discussions. I tried to meet with Walter a bunch, but we kept missing each other. It was funny. And then I talked capability, conceptor. So each one of these was interesting because, like, for example, conceptor was like, how do I find this orb? I talked about that in the detangler today. Like, so that was an information thing. On the capability, it was about people. Architect, it was about process. Susan, it was about it was all of it: information, process, technology, people. And then with Catalyst, it was all these as well. So and then I took kind of a word inventory. These words came up a lot as we talk, which is interesting because not a lot of teams talk this way. I've started to just listen to how we talk. Sure, we have funny words like detangler, but when you talk about what we're doing and all that, we represent something that's different. So how does that happen? And so these words came up a lot in my conversations this week. So that's some quote unquote information for you. When I look at the feedback piece from last week, like I was talking to Scott, I'm like, well, who the hell gave me a 3? And then what did I do wrong to get a 3? I must have really screwed up. So Phil, to your point, one, I was pissed and I was gonna figure out who gave me a 3 and drive over to their house and punch him in the face. And then the other one was,
I gave you a 3.
And what did I do wrong, right? So I've had that same thing happen when I'm presented bar charts too. So that was interesting. And then, when I look at last week, like what role am I were people most interested to hear feedback? Like why would people be interested? So this is that curiosity piece. Why would you guys be interested if I talk to Clarity about my deck from Monday? Is it because I wasn't clear? Well, the feedback didn't say I wasn't clear, so why am I supposed to talk to Clarity? And of course, I didn't ask anybody that. But then on the one, what role should I talk with was Conceptor. So why should I talk to Conceptor about my deck? I don't know, but 40% of you guys said I should. And then then I talked to Phil, and one thing I learned this week is Phil is downright happy and giddy when he's talking about his board.
Oh God, yes, I love my board.
He loves his board.
Love my board.
So that's how he organizes information. So, and then I was thinking about the orb, and I've got ourselves down here, and I'm like, well, this is kind of cool because beginning of the week we weren't talking about the orb, and at the end of the week we were talking about the orb, and I put these kind of things around here, and experience is in the middle. And the orb has been revealing itself more and more to me. And I don't know if these are questions are right, but these were questions that I had, like, how do I, and then I flipped them and said, well, how do I make the
Brian,
handoffs better?
can I interrupt you real quick? I know
Yeah.
you're kind of in flow, but man, I love what you just said there, that the orb is revealing itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's so kick-ass. That's cool thinking. Sorry.
Yeah, because it's like the Matrix, the movie The Matrix. I took the pill and I'm like, whoa, this is true. What was that? So
you can say it. It's okay to say it's trippy.
yeah, it's trippy. To borrow a catalystism. Yeah. So I used it. I've been using this a lot, actually. And I'm using it here. And obviously I did the detangler with it. So this is about like, how do we contribute? So, so how does change happen? So one is, I think we've changed and we've evolved. So part of the week, if I just look at Monday to Friday, I think what I look at is the expectations of ourselves and the expectations of what it means to be on the team. And even the expectations of working with Jen have changed. So quote unquote changed. So capital C, a change has happened there. A change has happened in what we're contributing. I had Eric call me up and he's like, how the fuck are you building these detanglers? Do you have like a whole bunch in the hopper? I'm like, I don't know. I just build them. But ask me, 2 months ago to build a daily detangler and I would have sat there and looked at my screen. So contributions have changed. So how the contributions we're making have changed for some reason, like there's something happening there. I think our environment has changed. I see this there's a lot of stuff that happened with Mimecast that I'll leave out, but just the way in which we work and how we're not raking Tim over the coals. It's a funny thing. And Tim was awesome in his Monday one and his Friday one, but it's not a competition, right? And then also, we trip over stuff all the time and it's okay to do that. And then, the feedback piece, what feedback are we getting? I need less feedback, positive feedback, but at the beginning I needed like a lot more, like, am I on the right track type of stuff. So my point on this is each of these four things have changed, quote unquote changed, as the week has gone on for me. How that's happening is, I don't know. It just happens. Like, I think it's all this and more, and we might not ever know how change happens other than we're engaged and we're trying to do stuff. It just does, it just happens. And, can you architect and engineer change? I don't know, but you can architect an environment. You can clarify expectations. You can structure feedback. You can think about your value contribution, and change definitely happens there. In the middle is an experience. So how do we bring all these dots together? That's super cool. And I know a change will happen there. And the change will speed up, which will, put us back on it's more comfortable on the right path now. So my point on the daily detangler was, the more I embrace the orb, the easier it is to stay over on the right side path, because it's structure to me and I like structure. So I can stay over here and not feel like I'm giving the middle finger to the left side people or being disruptive. I can just stay comfortable in the orb on the right side, which is a change as well, to be more comfortable. It used to be uncomfortable, trying to get outside your comfort zone. Now the right side is becoming more and more comfortable, which is freeing up my ability to talk about the right side path. So I don't know exactly how change happens, but I think on our team, we've got a lot of the ingredients to make it happen. And I think it is happening, and it just is. Change happens. Instead of shit happens, change happens. And there you go. That's my closing thought on how change happens.
So for you guys' benefit, I got maybe 3 minutes through Brian's detangler today. and I was in a checkout line at Chick-fil-A with all my kids ordering them stuff because I played it because the line was long, and I was like, I'm going to do something here, and they're all talking with each other. And I had to call them immediately because it was so gripping to me. So I think one thing that I'm going to ask the Detangler and ask you guys for feedback is, can you share with us what feedback other people are doing for the things that you're putting out? Because it's not just, if it's one way, it's one thing, but another thing is, hey, how are people reacting to it? Because I want to know what Joe thinks of that, and I want to know what Erwin thinks about it. I want to know what Phil thinks about it, because I'm going to be learning too, but we don't have time to have these group meetings all the time. And it's the reinforcement. What I find that really motivates me is I get energized when I hear a different take of something that I see, that I believe in, that's complementary, but different. There's something that just, it's energizing because I can connect more dots with more people. So because I know Tim thinks differently than me, and I know Dave thinks differently, and I know Phil thinks differently, it allows me to make way more connections with more and more people. That's at least how I feel. How do you guys relate? How did you guys react to his detangler today? For me, I thought it was by far and away the best one so far. It was insanely good for me, I thought.
That's because it started with the orb.
Maybe. I think what really worked the most for me is when he said he exposed with curiosity. Why are these dots in between these things? What are they for?
Yeah.
Yes, these are the questions we need to be asking. And that just got me so excited because it's if you ask the right question, I find that people get engaged. And doing the hard work to figure out the right question, it's a lot of work, but that's what I've learned creates engagement. Is if you ask the right question, and he just laid it out there. He asked the right question, and it has really resonated with me.
Yeah, cool.
I hope you guys can hear me. I've said to Brian since day one of the Detangler, I enjoy getting them. I listen to them all because I find them very educational, and his opinions on things help me in gaining a greater understanding of everything that's going on right now. So I from day one, I think I called him and said, I love this, and I saw today's as well. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
awesome.
I would say it's interesting because it's it's sort of like a gimmick in a way, but the effect of it is actually pretty cool. Like when you get one of these every day, it's sort of like you're looking forward to the next one. It reminds you that you're part of this broader mission on a team, and it's like it pulls you back to the team place that you live in when you're in the team mode, and I think it just has a really good effect. I also think the quality of the production and how you do it, and you've got a very good style for it. Plays really well. I mean,
I agree.
Fits really well. So if you keep doing them, you got a library of these things. I think with clients, it has an effect that's very positive. I mean, that's my reaction. Is I enjoy getting them and listening to them, and
I think I just put in my feedback to you, Brian. What I loved about this presentation, and even now the Detangler, it's educational, but it's engaging.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a hard thing to do.
People aren't thinking about this most of the day, right? So
right.
Yeah.
So I want to share two things. One is to give you feedback on, to get Dave's back on the feedback about looking forward to it. I told you this, Brian, but I'm going to tell everybody else. I was in the middle of watching one of your feedbacks, Dave, and I stopped immediately because I said, "Oh, good, a Detangler's in," and I had to watch that. Like I was just waiting for it. So,
Detangler, man.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
You got programmed out.
Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
That's the value of having a brand.
Watch-
Detangler is cooler than architect.
Watch out, Netflix.
It was
Yeah.
great though.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to see it. So when I don't get the detangler, I get pissed off. Where was the detangler yesterday? Damn it! The newspaper kid took my newspaper.
Right.
Yeah, he's calling me going, where's my detangler?
Yeah, it actually has that effect, I think, Brian. I wasn't expecting, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, you guys are giving me good ideas too. So keep surfacing this stuff. It's really important.
For me, the thing that really worked in this one is that you said, here's what I thought, and you had the discipline to stay focused on being curious about a few questions just for a week. And because you had a lot of interactions, you were able to say, here are my observations.
Yeah.
So you made it about you. It was scientific, but it didn't come off as preachy and
Yeah.
professorial. It came off as real, and like I could take a lot of the stuff and implement it. It was really, really practical.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, that's good.
So that was really, really good, and I liked a lot of the connections between. You had momentum. You had.
Oh, the words we're using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Synergy,
that.
focus, change, simple. We say simple a lot when we talk.
So it'd be interesting to compare against other teams.
Right. Yeah. Like, where's my project plan? And I need to know what I'm doing in the next meeting.
Yeah.
Right. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, if you put up the Brian's email against this yellow list, it's just, wow. You know?
Night and day, right? It's a different
Yeah.
environment.
Yeah.
Cool. Anybody else? Feedback
Cool, thanks.
for
Thanks
No.
for the feedback.
Just well done.
Well, I know that Brian,
Well done.
Brian shared some stuff with me today, and the doors, the pivot doors, and I got to tell you that I am looking forward to that, because that is going to be a great conversation. I am requesting a detangler on that because it's really good. I can't
Okay.
stop thinking about it.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
Angler request.
Are you
It's
guys
Yeah.
are you guys creating FOMO? What did you guys talk about? What do you
We
mean?
can't tell you. You got to wait for the
Yeah.
detangler to come out.
Yeah, it's good. It's
Wow.
good shit, man.
Wow.
Good shit.
He's teasing us with the next detangle.
I'm
Right?
dangling the detangler.
Smart man. Smart man.
Yeah, that's some theatrics. I love it.
Thanks, Phil. I'll pay you later.
Okay, so we only have 2 folks left, right? And
Yeah.
I understand that the tester and architect have decided to do their Halloween costumes together.
Oh, there we go.
What?
Is
not
that-
bad, but
is that-
Nice.
oh, Bill's got one. Nice.
Did you just say not exactly? Is that what you said?
Go first, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim's got to go first.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I got to catch myself a little bit because
I don't see it yet. No.
Yeah, no, I can't. You haven't shared.
I see your face.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, are you gonna act?
Yeah.
Are you gonna act out your presentation?
Yeah, please. You don't want that. Hopefully you can see it now.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. So, yeah, Dave and I teamed up this week, but I wanted to go back over the exercise and part 2 of this. But before I go forward, I wanted to go back. So I put up the first slide is my slide from Monday for those that can remember. And after the meeting, I was just debriefing, looking at some of the comments that came in the middle of the week. I looked at it and just said, you know, what's my takeaway from Monday? And the first one was get over yourself. Even the lead on the slide, the tester, I took it from my point of view instead of maybe the group's point of view. So I knew going into this one with the requirement of a reminder that the exact same assignment, not the exact same presentation. I knew after Monday that this was going to change. And then in the middle of the week, Dave and I got together and we started to make toast. We started to go through the toasting of the webinar series, the experience of the webinar series. Think about that, breaking down 6 webinars and the pages of notes that we were taking and creating toast, and then sending a draft off to Scott about the whole series. And it was enlightening to me in the sense that it kind of forced me to look outside myself and look at the whole of everything, of what we did as a group and what we accomplished as a group. So then going into today's exercise of going after the webinar toast, I said, okay, so why don't we take a look and why don't we look at making toast for the whole experience of this exercise and explain how change actually happens and what we went through over basically a 48-hour period of time. Today's the bookend of it, but what I really wanted to do is break down, Dave and I break down that 48-hour period of time. So we implemented a 1-week What is Change project to produce a perspective on what our clients go through when going through a business transformation process. And this was the experience. So we went through and there's a lot more detail and specifics that we need to break down and the time frame, but the framework is up here. So Dave and I went through using the orb. So the orb is revealing itself. And so we went through the process of breaking it down by the people, the experience of the people, the process, the information, and the technology. And so we went through it, and then we brought in the experience of Phil and Tim. And so we have 4 people's opinions and our thoughts and the experience. And then we had 2 questions. What was your experience with the assignment? And what did you learn from doing the exercise? And for time's purposes, I can't go into every one of these, but under people, check this out, how the opinions and the experience of each person changes. I can't plan and don't have the time. It feels heavy. Clear role identity made the exercise easy. Too much stinking thinking made it difficult to get started. Not sure what the assignment was given on Akivia, given the role on Akivia. When you move down to process, what was your experience with the assignment? Seemed clear, but the window was very small and it was a weekend. It was clear, but I made it more complicated than it was. The process seems straightforward, loose and vague. So you can see how different people took the experience and what they thought of it. When you got into information, it was very open-ended. The information gave structure but required invention. The information was ambiguous, which created fear. The content was a bit foreign. It gives me pause. Technology. What was your experience with the assignment? No problem with notification, but the survey was problematic. The survey mechanism was a bit cumbersome to use. The initial video was password protected, so I couldn't access until the 2 hours before the meeting. So again, the issues, some of it went fine, some of it didn't, and each person's take on it was different as well. So next question, what did you learn from doing the exercise? Under people, felt comfortable to share with Akivia. So that was later in the day. One of the people who contributed to this said, you know what, I did it. I went through it. I felt comfortable sharing what I had done earlier with the group with Akivia to share the experience with them in the exercise. Teammates can be harsh in feedback, which is a bad experience. There's a lot of perspectives that round out the total view. And then finally, have much greater empathy for people going through change. Under process, what did you learn from doing this exercise? Mine was left field, so I felt different from my peers. It's okay to be perfect. It's okay not to be perfect. Knowing any response is okay made me comfortable, and the process drove some new creative ideas. So again, different views on the process. Information, what did you do? What did you learn from doing the exercise? The info invited different perspectives. Vagueness is hard to handle. Vagueness challenges confidence. Lack of information is hard most of the time, more than most. And under technology, what did you learn from doing the exercise? We need a more seamless way to do this. Is there a better survey tool? Too many different technologies. It was clunky from start to finish. And then questions were hard to answer in the time frame allotted. So that was the summary of the toast. Again, it was the four of us, and we still need more detail and specifics. But what did we draw from this? What's the conclusion? This assessment is important to our success at Akivia because under people, we're relatable to our client when we share our experiences with them so they can tell we are immersed in experience change with them. And we saw that come out loud and clear on the meeting on Monday afternoon after Phil did his presentation. And Jen was like, wow, that's how I feel sometimes. O'Brien being on the right-hand side. So it immediately lets them know that we're in this journey with them. Under process, it's now clear we need to make change easier for all client stakeholders to participate in with us as one team. We work with you, we're there with you. Information, ambiguity and uncertainty makes it difficult for people to feel comfortable. The right information at the right time can create a positive versus negative experience for people to adopt a new perspective. And boy, having, putting yourself in someone else's shoes and knowing what these people are gonna go through, this is why these exercises are important for us to do as a team. It gives us greater perspective and empathy for what we're asking people to do. And then finally, under technology, as a virtual team, a structured environment is important to reduce time, enable speed, and make it feel easy and exciting to participate. These are all the learnings that we can take as a group and bring not just to Akivia, but to all our clients. So, you know, at the end of this, the exercise of doing this toast this week on the webinar series and now to over this 48 period of time gave me absolutely a greater sense of empathy for what we're asking people to do. Instead of thinking I know the answer, it's what you know for certain that certainly ain't so, has definitely struck home for me this week, Monday to Friday. Absolutely. That's it.
I'm speechless. This is beyond awesome.
That's great.
I don't know how to even give feedback on this yet. Somebody else give them feedback.
Well,
Can you go to slide 3 real quick? I just want to make sure. So this was the
this was the timeline.
yeah. Wow, that's cool.
In 48 hours.
Yeah,
We did this in 48 hours.
Mhm.
And to hear those comments from our client from Tuesday's meeting,
Mhm.
it really hit home. And the other great thing about this, talk about doing something with somebody. We're looking at a 48-hour period of time here. The toast that Dave and I did that we sent off on the webinar series, think about that, what we accomplished as a group of 5 people over 6 webinars. It's amazing what you can see happen when people buy into a cause. And now I can actually say that I lived this. You know, I wasn't involved in the SES experience. I didn't live that, but I absolutely lived the webinar series, and so did Dave. So we spent almost a full day breaking that down. And we've only begun that because now we have to bring in the insights and the inputs from everybody else on the team. Imagine what that's going to look like when we're done.
Can you go back to 6 real quick?
Well, Joe, let me just piggyback on that thought here. Here's the thing. One of in this situation, everybody had the same amount of involvement. So the participation and roles in the webinar series were different. This one, everybody's was the same. And that was by design, because we wanted to be able to say, how do we time box this and figure out how does this all work? What I'd love to do is for you and Dave, I know you guys did work on the webinar process. Let's make that something that we do together, all of us. For right now, since we're all literally experiencing this together, look at how far we've come as a unit in just not even a full week, 6 days. If we start the stopwatch at an email that you get on Saturday, which I'm sure people took negatively. God damn, yet another thing. I can't get out. I can't get out. And I get it, man. The amount of emails that I get from Jen is like, God damn it, I can't dig out. I get that
It
feeling.
didn't really bother me.
What?
It didn't bother me.
Exactly.
It's like I never even
It
read it.
was, yeah.
I think what was so interesting, can you go to slide 5 and then I'll give you back control, Brian? I just want to help us make sure that we're really, really focused. What's fascinating is I spent a boatload of time trying to make the exercise and experience clear. And even when you spend that amount of time, and by the way, the time that I spent in it was 8 hours. With that investment of 8 hours, look how ambiguous it still is. How can I make something clear? How do you make something clear for people to follow? I don't know the answer to that. So this is what I talk about clarity all the time, about quit asking me to make it more clear. You guys don't even fucking know. I don't know. None of us know how to make shit clear.
Yep.
And how do we make something clear for everybody? Because some people are like, it was easy, pretty straightforward. Other people are like, and then some people blame themselves. Oh, I had too much stinking thinking. It was pretty clear. Well, then the technology part was clunky, and boy, was I frustrated with that, the Google Forms thing. How do we make things clear as a group? Because
Scott, I think, oh, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was just going to complete the thought here, because this is what we're selling. And change is only going to happen as a group at Acuvia. It's only going to happen as a group at Mimecast. We got to anticipate the Brian Acuvias of the world that are going to, start going batshit crazy. And this isn't what I expect. They're going to go left path. Yeah. How do we make it more clear? What can we do? So go ahead, Tim. It's up to you. Solve it.
Yeah, good. So there it is. Can we take an exercise like this and we have some good input, and now, you did this on your own, right? So there wasn't any other consideration. It was what you felt right for you. Like when Dave talks, Dave thinks everyone's complete morons, and can't believe you don't understand this. This is why I think it would be interesting to take this assignment again and we build it together, or with a couple people, or whatever.
I love that idea. Again. I love it. I'm in. Love it. I love it. Yes. Let's do that.
Okay.
Well, we'll design it.
That's awesome.
I love that idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
As a matter of fact,
that's a great idea.
Let's do it with skin in the game. Because I always love that, because then it's for real. Let's challenge ourselves to design the experience of my slot on the Sales Enablement Society conference on 10/22. So it gives us a little bit of time. And let's make the experience of, we're going to assign people to make the orb more clear. So just like our assignment was, hey, you got a little bit of time to prepare. You're going to tell us how exactly does change happen. And by the way, you only have 10 minutes. That's such an unrealistic thing, right? So let's challenge let's challenge people who aren't us to come up with how they label the orb. And then how do we do it to where we get people to actually attend this thing so that we give enough structure to where they're curious to participate, because everybody opts into these things. And then let's design it using what we've learned here. I love that idea, Tim, and I love having skin in the game. I'm not asking you guys to have the face for it. I'm going to be the face for it. Just know it's like super, super stressful, right? Because it's your own reputation in front of a bunch of folks. But I'm willing to do that because I believe in that kind of stuff. If we got skin in the game, we're going to make it awesome. You down with that?
Yeah, I'm full skin in the game. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, so let's do that, because and then basically what this is going to do is it's going to let us be our best selves. We can put all these things together and we can figure it out. And by the way, Brian, all the proceeds, all the things that we do, we just publish on orchestratesales.com. This is all,
cool.
Cash money. All
the
right.
proceeds.
Yeah, so I love that idea. I'm going to spend some time to envision a draft plan of how we'd attack it so that we can react to it. I don't think we could have gotten here unless you did this, Joe.
And Dave.
Well, this is presenting. We get to see Dave's next.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, on slide 6, real quick, is Scott, are those, when you say we need to document wins, are these examples of wins?
I don't know yet, right? I don't know, Brian. I'm still processing what I was this was so far out of the field of what I was expecting. I'm still trying to process this, and in a good way. What I'd love to do is, how did the rest of you guys react to this? You guys were the hamsters in the guinea wheel exercise. How do you guys react to what Joe's saying?
Yeah, since Phil and I were able to experience it firsthand, we wwent through, and Phil, I'll speak for us, but you can adjust. Went through an emotional roller coaster, if you will, because, we were starting to give some feedback, and maybe I was a little bit hesitant at first and, didn't want to throw it all out there, but, Joe and Dave were like, no, this is, we're the guinea pigs. This is only going to make the process better. So be honest, because that feedback is going to go into the final product or the final process. So I thought that was kind of cool to go through that, to be able to, this wasn't perfect. It can be perfect, but we're not blaming anyone. We're just saying this didn't work for us. Is there another way around it, or another way to do it better? So the process that Joe and Dave took on this, I think was great. And it really, like Phil even started off this whole meeting talking about it, just put in perspective what we're doing, which is very helpful.
Yeah, but today was, like I said, I was like a pot of coffee this week, percolating, right? I did a lot of bubbling and thinking, and I kept coming back to stuff. But when the orb came out that this week, I looked at it and I said, okay, I understand the 4 elements. And then I started wondering about the connections, and that had been percolating in my head. And then when we talked about this and we went back to the 4 pieces, and we were talking about how much good information came out of the synthesis of this. And there's more with the webinar that we've seen. That's just going to be really fantastic. I think putting this into the sales enablement, that SES meeting we're having, is a great idea. How do you get people to be honest when they haven't experienced all the principles and stuff like that is going to be a challenge too, though. So
I'm going to get Brooke to help with that. So I'm going to make her be the booth babe or something. So that'll put a much better, more positive spin on this than me.
Hey, Scott, can I say one more thing? I don't want to hold Dave up for too. Are we okay on time? I just want to.
Yeah.
Just one thing I just want to call out about this is that, and again, I'm sticking to this period of time, but after the meeting on Monday, Scott called me Monday night, and he said, hey, just to check in, how's it going, Joe? I said, pretty good. He goes, hey, what'd you think about the presentations today? I said, He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I just wish I wish I don't know. I wish I'd done things a little bit differently. Too much stinking thinking. And he's like, well, so we talked through it. And then 20 minutes later into the conversation, we were talking about the meeting with Matt and Jen. And I said, you know, Scott, I get a sense that Jen's not completely bought in, or she's a little fearful, I guess, I think is what I said. She's about the hang gliding or what's going on. He's like, dude, he goes, let me get this straight. So the guy who just told me he was going to do a presentation in front of 5 guys he knows is now going to weigh in and try and put themselves in the shoes of what Jen's going through, dude. He's like, it's the experience, stupid. Principle number 1. He's like, this woman's got a lot going on. She's getting pulled in all these different directions. She's got to get up on stage with me in a week. And here you are after doing that exercise, and you're going to weigh in from your point of view on that. And Dave likes to talk about aha moments, but that's when I was like, the light bulb went off. And when Dave reached out to me a day and a half later and said, hey, Joe, you want to make some toast on the webinar series? I almost found it like it was, I had to do it.
Redemption.
Yeah, I had to, because I wanted to find out, I wanted to live that journey. And it absolutely makes you walk away with a lot more empathy for what people are going through. Even Brian, the guy we're talking about, Brian, we don't know everything that's going on with him right now. So I just found this whole week bookended, but this period of time was very valuable for me. So that's all I wanted to say.
So if you don't mind, Joe, can I add some more texture to what your story?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I texted immediately after the IQVIA call. This is the exact wording of my text to Joe. Okay. It said, who does that? ? What we just did ? ! Now, how would you take that? Tim, if I sent that text to you, how would you take that?
What position am I in? Sorry. What,
You're in my
if you would have
shoes.
sent that to me,
Yeah.
if you would have sent that to me
Yeah.
after our presentation or the IQVIA one.
Well, I don't think you were on the IQVIA call on
No.
Monday, right? So Phil, how would you take
Yeah.
that?
So what I have learned is that this group of 6, 7 people, whatever, sitting here is thinking very differently than everybody else out there in the world. I don't think, I am convinced, I think David said this to me, and I am convinced we are solely thinking about something entirely different. Maybe there's people who are dreaming this shit in their bedroom, but I mean, as a group, we're actually trying to make change in a world where the environment is, every force in the environment is pushing against us. Not that Father knows best, and Father don't know best because the environment has changed.
Yep.
Hats off to you, because it is so effing different today than it was
Yep.
on March. What is it? What was the time machine? March
15th. Tim knows that.
Yeah, it was such a different world, and it's going to continue to evolve. And I think that's what's the problem, is that, you know, the 4 Ps and the way things have been in the past are not what's going to, this is such a different way of getting inside the skin of the customers that that's what it meant. It's about who the fuck is doing this other than us.
Exactly.
I don't see any articles on this. I don't
Nope.
see anybody talking about this.
It's
And
pure
how many members of the Sales Enablement Society are there? How many
we're
members?
pure primary research. So any rate,
Yeah.
I was not planning to put you guys on the spot on that IQVIA call, but Brian said something during his presentation. I said, huh. It just went, huh, in my head. He said, nobody's doing this. He said, nobody's doing this.
Right.
Everybody needs somebody. Even I'm willing to take a lot of risk, as you guys can tell, but you need to hear, and that, you need to hear somebody, nobody's doing this. So that planted in my head. So I'm literally in this text bragging. This is bragging. Who does that ? what we just did, question mark, exclamation mark. What text back did I get from Joe? Joe, don't say anything.
Yeah, I'm not.
What do you think his
Well,
response was?
I know.
Okay, but don't say it then.
I would say, I think Joe's
Yeah,
pretty
I know the
good.
answer to
He
it.
said, we do.
Joe says, did I muck something up? Question mark. That's why I called him. I actually chewed him out. What the F are you
No.
talking about?
No, you didn't. I know what it's like that, but no, it was a more inquisitive call. But that's why I like these feedback forms. I'm hardest on myself, so I'm usually happy with a 3. So, but yeah, I mean that's exactly how I looked at it. I was just like, wait a second, did I just fuck something up? And wrong way to look at things, and that's why I jumped into the whole webinar and making toast with Dave. I have to have a different perspective on things.
I told him, look, the left, remember Brian's picture, the left path and the right path. I said, Navy SEALs don't criticize the technique that they're using to swim. They're all just effing badasses. We're badasses because exactly what Phil said. We're doing something, we're tackling something. We have the stones to tackle something. No one else is tackling it. And look where we are because of it in 1 week, not even 1 week. Look at what our shared understanding is in 1 week. Who does that? Who does that? Who does that? Then, so you go from, we're talking about a guy who literally on Monday after the Acuvia call, I mean, shit, Phil, you were feeling pretty good after the Acuvia call, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
You were feeling pretty crappy at 9 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
when you wanted to kill me. And then after the Acuvia call, you're showing your screen desk of how much you hate Viva.
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
It was awesome.
That was awesome.
What's
Yeah,
about that
I was telling
guy?
somebody about that, how you showed that. You're like, this makes me so upset every single day. That's so funny.
What's perfect about that is when you can channel real, raw emotion, that's authenticity. That's irreplaceable.
Yep.
And that's what this process is about. Be you. And we channel it. So Phil went from wanting to kill me to he's going to go out and personally stalk Viva and take him out like he's a commando. That's Phil's journey.
It is so tempting to put listeners on their email servers and check everything, but I'm not going to do it.
It's good to know you can, though.
So after that, where's Joe? Joe's at, did I muck something up? And now look where Joe is. Joe's put together, I don't know, have you ever seen an analysis like this of a group behavior?
No, that's why I'm like, I want to see the slides again. Can you send them to me?
Yeah, we know.
I think we need to keep redoing this and keep asking ourselves, was this our experience first and foremost? And then how do we make it better? It doesn't matter about being right. It's about getting it right. Who gives a shit if I put 8 hours into it or not? Who cares? Let's just get it right. Let's just get it right. This is exciting to me. And to go through that trial of these are the kinds of things that gives us the badge of honor or the whatever it is, the credentials to tackle the problems that no one's going to want to tackle. But there's no way Acuvia is going to change their business without a change agency like us. There's no way Mimecast is going to be able to figure out how to sell the enterprise without a service like ours. So we have to get good at describing it to help people figure out how to buy us. We just have to. I mean, I'm just blown away. Walter, are you still on?
I am.
What do you think? I don't see your face. I see everybody else's face.
I think it's awesome. So, again, I'm on the phone here, guys. So, Joe, that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Even though I can't see the slides, this is actually kind of cool that I wasn't looking at the slides.
Yeah.
because I really still got a great picture. I'm putting on my clarity hat. Yeah, it was clear in my mind. But I love what you said because I was still it was very engaging.
It was.
I was listening to everything you said. So that's not an easy thing to do.
Well,
It really is.
wouldn't you say, Walter, everyone's has been engaging?
Yeah.
Most definitely, without a doubt. But I thought you just asked because Joe.
Yeah.
Every single one here has been really great. And actually, I'm glad I'm not on the, not looking at slides because you get a whole different perspective.
That's true. You're right. You're right.
You really do. And that's fantastic.
And I think how much more engaging were they now than last time?
Definitely a good bit more. Not they were bad the last time, but
No, they weren't bad.
everyone's learning.
I got a 3.
Learning.
Just kidding.
So,
Would you let it go?
jeez.
The thing is, you earned it. It wasn't just given to you.
Why don't you just
Yeah, exactly. Some of us still believe in the gentleman's sea.
Everyone's, but I mean, this is interesting, Scott, because this goes back to SES,
Yeah.
all this. So the evolution of the Sales Enablement Society, we had those waves, those up and down waves as we were getting ready for the first conference. People are coming in, people are falling out. Where did people really gravitate towards? Where did folks build off of? Where did we have our challenges and make our mistakes? Because if you're going to succeed, be really successful at something, you're going to fail more than anybody else.
Yeah.
And it's interesting here because it totally aligns to that.
Yeah.
So this is great.
It is
Fantastic.
This is really good. And wait till you
Yeah.
actually see the slides.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Well-
Did you guys get a chance to vote on it?
Yep.
Oh, is there a floor?
So are you feeling like a seal yet? Or do you think you mucked something up? Because I think you have a typo here. And I think we should,
Oh God. No, I tell you,
Yeah, it's a little hard to read, Phil
Yeah.
or Joe.
exactly. This is a lot of words.
I'm just, it's a great way to close out the week because I'll tell you, my hat's off to Dave because going through that experience when he called me on Wednesday to do the webinar. If you think this is, wait till you see when we start reaching out to everybody in the next steps with the webinar experience.
That's crazy good.
I mean, and we've only just begun that journey, but it's what got me to focus on this. So it's a shout out to Dave because he was great at passing along the intelligence of Toast to me and helping me go through it. And so it definitely helped me in a lot of ways. So that's a great thing about being a team.
Yep. You can't do it by yourself.
Nope.
Awesome.
Definitely not.
It's impossible. All righty. Architect.
All right, I got to. You got to stop
Yep,
sharing.
I did.
There we go. You guys see my screen?
Yeah, we see objective feedback section, it says. There we go.
All right, so I'm going to pick up where Joe left off because we went through that together. And last time, this is how I started. We transformed commercial systems from go-to-market to customer. So it's just acknowledging we're in the transformation business. And I talked about the 3 phases to change, how change actually happens. I change my perspective, I trust through activation, and I believe to sustain it. So that was where I started. And going through the process with Joe, and I thought one of the cool sort of, I've made Toast a few times, but now we split it into orb tracks of people, process, information, and technology. And as you can tell, going through that process enables you to synthesize and create insights.
He wants us to really think about that.
Dramatic pause.
For all client stakeholders to participate in with us as one.
Hey, Dave, you cut out there for a long while. Your audio.
Let me
Start
try.
at the top of this slide. I thought you were pulling a Phil and just going silent.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Where did I cut out?
Right at the top.
Start at the top of the slide.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, this is where Joe left off. I just highlighted the words that were important here to the findings that we found just going through this. Relatable when we share experiences, easier for all client stakeholders to participate in with us as one team. When we make the process easy, when we provide the right information at the right time, it can create a positive versus negative experience. And as a virtual team, a structured environment is important to reduce time, reduce frustration, enable speed, make it easy to participate. We have to create an environment where, you know, an experience environment, if you will, where people feel comfortable and excited to participate in their own change. So you guys might remember this. I had put this together as my aha. And when I got the assignment, I immediately, just for some reason, was able to, it just occurred to me, we need a whole set of processes for change, as well as enabling programs. So I went through a pretty detailed work product to break down all of this. So just to remind you guys, I was talking about two tracks. The left side is like installing the operating system, which is GE orchestrated change processes. Starting with, I change my perspective, I trust through activation, and I believe through sustainability. And on the other side, which is a client orchestrated enabling program, it's the account value mapping, the routes to value, and the go to customer enabling programs. And that's how we end up converting. It's going to take both sides of this, two different systems, the hardware and the software, the operating system and the go to customer system, to install and help them sustain this really important commercial change. And ultimately, yeah, we can upgrade the technology to help them do it at scale, which is what the Polaris piece is all about. So I was thinking about that, and I came back to these things and said, okay, how does this all tie together? And it brought me to the Speedy system.
Awesome.
Which is how we all started. And I love the Speedy system, and Joe and I were geeking out on the thing again.
Nice. Nice.
I took those key points from here and I put them right on here, because this is our Speedy system, this environment.
Yes.
And making it relatable, this is
Yes.
us. We're relatable to our clients. We're providing the, it's making
God,
it,
this is so good.
this makes it easier to participate as one team, right? So if the environment's right,
Yes.
the tennis court has to be there, then the people that have to go at the same speed.
Yes. Sorry, I'm.
Work
I
within
gotta
it.
mute. I gotta mute.
And then the right information at the right time, it has to be embedded throughout the system. So you know how the the alarm for the fry machine goes off at 2.5 minutes, that's information. The malt machine has to tie off. And we were even thinking about, remember when, and I had forgotten all about this, when Michael Keaton is driving around, he's got a 6 shake mix master thing, and no one wants it because they make one burger at a time, but he's got this thing that makes 6 shakes at a time, and he can't sell them at all. And then finally the McDonald's guys call and say, I need 8 of those, shake makers that can produce 6 at a time. And he just couldn't believe it. He's like, how is that? And he couldn't sell it because they couldn't make the burgers that fast. But when they figured out how to make the burgers that fast, they needed the 6 shake maker to keep up. with the burgers. And that's really what upgrading the technology does. It enables the team to operate at the same speed, and also have the right information embedded in the system at the right time. And that is a structured, modernized environment. So if I come back to this and what we learned, relatable experiences is right in here. We're the ones on the side telling people how to do this. You come back to making it easier for all client stakeholders to participate. It's by designing the process flows that enable them to work that way. And then you get to the information's embedded. And this is a lot of what Scott's IP has, is how do you know who the stakeholder buyers are and the agreement networks work, and how do you map everything? That's all embedded throughout this system. And then you got the structured, modernized environment that it makes it easy to just experience the system. So this is an experience system. The Orb is a system, and it produces lots of happy customers. And so I'll end with, why is this assignment important? This is what I had last time. The assignment's important for our success because they must have a positive, structured, tailored, and phased experience to adopt and sustain this level of transformation over time through our experience system. And so that's my presentation. The end.
Mic drop.
And I'm glad Joe and I did that together, because it helped to trail all the way through to this. And I do love this as an inspiration. And if I had to give a presentation to a group of people as to what Polaris Growth Enablement does, what this team does, I would use the Speedy system every time, because it's such a great representation of really orchestration. I mean, all the elements of the Orb are in the Speedy system model. And even IQVIA, liked it. Even AJ liked the Speedy system. He jumped right on it and asked Jen if she had seen Founders, if you can believe that. That happened this week.
That did happen this week.
Yeah.
No, it happened on Friday.
Last Friday.
Yeah, that happened on Friday.
And that was
But that did happen. It's so true.
So anyway.
The things that you're highlighting in the movie. So I'm just taking myself off mute. So I'm sorry. I was doing too much F yeahs and interrupting you.
No, I enjoyed
Put on mute. If you think about like isolating different scenes in a movie and you think like Hollywood script, there's no way that's reality. It is reality. Guys, it is real. It is totally 100% real. We're on Friday. This time last week, it was a big decompress because we lost our executive sponsor and we got a better one. And that new executive sponsor, I mentioned what we were doing, and I asked him if he'd seen Founders, and he said, yeah, the Speedy system, and he immediately asked, he didn't ask, so you're downplaying the reality, Dave, by many factors, so I'm trying to highlight for everybody else. He didn't say, I like this, like Dave just did. I like it, like it's no big deal, like he's some surfer dude. Dave, you're from Connecticut. You're not a surfer dude. It's kind of cool.
I thought, yeah, Dave's got so much California. Crazy.
I know, but he's from Connecticut, guys.
No, he was.
We're in California though.
Yeah, he was.
Grew up there. So there you go.
Connecticut. At any rate, but that laid back, it's not at all, or it's underselling what really happened. What really happened on that call was I mentioned Founders and asked if he saw it. AJ went immediately to her. You're going to tell me we shouldn't be selling tech? We should be selling real estate? And I said, well, close. I'm going to say that what you're selling is a modern system. You're selling the Speedy system. And he went, yep, you're right. And I said, what we're experiencing right now is the part where they couldn't sell the hamburgers because they weren't paying enough attention to what the experience was. That's what we're running into. And he without a second of processing, he said, "Jen and Matt, have you seen the movie?" And they were like, pause, like, what's going on here? It's like, all right, you haven't seen the movie. You have to see it. Watch it this weekend. Got to watch the, and he said, I'm not kidding. You need to watch that movie. That's how it went down.
Isn't that unbelievable? I mean, what are the chances of that?
That's what's called serendipity. But at any rate, it's remarkable. This is remarkable. I'd love to know what everybody else thinks, but this is really good. I think what we need to do is go through this again, because if you look at this picture, the individual orchestrators, like, I think we need to tease out which of these people are just like the malt guy and which are orchestrators. And then we need to go through some, because you can't do this if people can't be orchestrators. So we have to think through what this means for the orchestrate sales part and what it means for developing orchestrators. I think that's where Brian wants to make his money, but we have to help him, give him the spec, because if right now in terms of our team, Susan's working in the Speedy system and she's trying to do the Speedy system. All of us are working in the Speedy system. Jen's all in on the Speedy system. Brian is standing there, not you, Lambert. Brian Acuvia is standing there in the middle of all the traffic saying, how come we're not cooking the way that I know how to cook it? What is all this shit? What the fuck are you doing? This isn't the way you make hamburgers.
Right.
He's
This is
literally
chaos.
standing in the middle, causing delays. So Jen-
Talking about the chaos. This is
Yeah.
chaos.
right,
I can't work in these conditions.
right, exactly.
Right. But what happens if the people can't work at the same pace? Or what if they can work at the same pace? Is really
So what we have to do is we got to figure out we have to define more clearly what orchestration means. What does it mean to individual roles? And then how do we get people onboarded, back to Phil's point earlier on, so that they can actually realize that they're working in this and they're not in a short order? Because what I watch, when I watch, I've seen this movie now 10 times. When I watch it, I watch this scene over and over again, and I watch what a great attitude the people have. Especially when Nick Offerman yells at him like, it's a hamburger, it's not that hard.
right.
I can imagine if I would say that to you guys, how many of you guys would tell me to fuck off? Throw my hamburger and then throw the hamburgers at me and quit. But none of those guys reacted. They're like, okay, I'll keep trying. And they're literally in motion doing these ridiculous hand motions. And all of those people involved are now millionaires because they did all that. It's crazy. Can we even do that today? That's all on why we have the detangler and why we need to build out orchestrate sales, and we need to make it less theoretical and heavy, Brian. We got to work on making it more accessible and like, this is what your job is in the future. More like that. So we need to find a way to incorporate. We've got the process part, we've got the programs part, and we've got the idea, the technology part. How are we going to figure out how to staff it? How do we staff this? And we're going to need to figure out how to staff it ourselves. To Phil's point about how I'm going to onboard a new dude, Brian, we need to think about what this actually looks like and, take it through that lens.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
But this, I don't know. I could keep going on and on and on. I need to shut up. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I loved slide 8. Slide 8 was my favorite. This one was great too. But slide 8, I like this. I like things that are like this. I like that. All right, I need to go mute. I'm going to hog the whole thing. You guys got to give Dave feedback.
I'm stuck trying to figure out a visual way to communicate slide 10. Not stuck. It's exciting because I think what Brian mentioned earlier is like, what are these little dots for? And
within the orb. And honestly, I don't know. Those are dots from Scott. Those are Scott dots.
It's
But I
orchestration.
think there's a level of,
The griddle
What's
guy
that?
connecting to the
yeah, there's like, there's a tie from people to tech, but there's things that happen in between that make it work or whatever. I don't know. But I've been lost in this visual this whole time. It's so
Well,
cool.
the to me the Speedy system is it's like a fractal. Like, I think we can think about it in terms of an overall engagement, then we can talk about it in terms of how do we build a webinar. Like, it's just a new new way of creating value, either programmatically or project by project or output by output, how we run our own station. There's a lot of implications to this nested view to me that I really like.
Well, you have to look at it holistically, because you gotta connect all the pieces in the system. And then you gotta get these people, to Scott's point, to be willing participants in the new system across silos. Because you could literally draw silos and say, well, this is marketing, and this is product, and this is sales.
Yeah, we do that already.
Right.
But
Right.
how do you sit on top of it and that orchestration fabric,
Right.
execution fabric,
Right.
and orchestrate on top of the silo? And if we get
Right.
them,
Well, you and I,
we can do it, including the right platform, tech, process.
When you look at the Speedy system in McDonald's, okay, there are layers. There's all how the people orchestrate amongst each other. There's how the machines orchestrate between each other. But then there's also, because there's relationships and connections there, but then there's the cross. This is the hybrid piece that we're talking about with the orb that was sort of bent in my mind. What's the relationship between the griddle maker and the guy in the yellow shirt, and the griddle maker and the guy in the red shirt? So or the whatever is it, tan shirt. So there's a relation, there's a connection between them. They have a responsibility on that machine. So that's the connection there. But there's also a connection between the information that comes from the front counter guy, the information from him that's flowing to the order stations to get the work done. So there's the layers that are all the same thing, and then there's a view that is a hybrid of different orchestration elements and how the flow goes as well between them as well. And the beauty of the orb is that it isn't a process. It's really things happen simultaneously and without order around it. But they all have an impact, and that's how business works today. The fact that we don't always go in a set order. The best way that there's this whole experience that you have to have, and you have to be fluid and be flexible in it. And it's the inflexible Brian's of you guys think of a good name, Brian C. from IQVIA. He's that inflexible right now. He doesn't want to change. He wants to live in the past. He wants the old way. He's not willing to step out of his comfort zone. He's at the top of the cliff going, yeah, I'm with Phil. I'm not going to hang glide. He's there. So you got to get them on that experience train, and that's really, if we can figure that out. And I think we're on the path to it. We're toasting it till we get it. We'll figure out a way to get that experience down so that people embrace this. And all we need to do is it has to be a grassroots where it starts at one area and then expands out. And you have to let the momentum of it carry. Because we're not going to be able to, unless we get the FOMO moment for everybody of what they're missing out on. You get that core group going. That's got to be part of it. My gut, I feel it.
Yeah,
you
I
can have
think,
no barriers in the Speedy system, right? That's
Right.
it.
You got to make it easy to do all this stuff by having like a hub.
Right.
You can come in and
Right.
post your videos and grab a new one, and they're labeled by topic, and Scott's slides are organized into conversation patterns, you know, for different people.
Right.
We can put that up, and that makes the environment, the technology, I think, plays a big role, you know?
Yep.
Makes it easier to access this stuff, and as you apply.
Well,
So,
yes, and the thing about it's the speedy system that was so revolutionary to me was the fact that it was, you know, order to output in 58 seconds, and it was a service. And the people within the speedy system each had a role to play to make the service happen. To me, most people in a work environment don't understand how they actually plug into the services being provided, and they don't think in terms of the give and gets and the value they're creating to the next person in line. The thing about the tennis court was you can get on a ladder and point out how all these interconnections happen. When you're in a $6 billion company in your, you know, cubicle or in your home office and emails are flying in, that's a whole other bailiwick. And to me, that's been a huge challenge of a system view like this. Is a system for what? A system for my own comfort, or a system to provide service to somebody else?
that's why
And most people don't have that service mentality.
we got to change the perspective, and that's what Scott's doing. One thing I noticed that Scott does unconscious competence is he goes in with 200 slides, but he doesn't present any. He waits for somebody to react to an idea, and then he moves them by going to slide, you know, 98. And next thing you know, you're on the growth strategy. You move from the growth strategy dashboard to the outcome patterns, and boom, the whole conversation changes. And he changes people's perspectives right in that meeting in 10 minutes by just having his arsenal, you know. How many slides do you normally have open on your PC, Scott, for a meeting that you can just go to? You zip around them pretty quick, but it's that's what you're doing. You're changing perspectives, I think. Because you got to create that to get people to trust. Then you get into the activation, and then you get people to believe, and it's got to have a whole change process here we're doing to them to get them to, you know.
Yeah, I do spend an awful lot of time on change the perspective, no doubt. And the reason I do that is you have to sell what's possible, and most people can't even envision what's possible because they're too confined by what they know to be, you know, it ain't what you know for sure that gets you, it ain't what you don't know that gets you in trouble, it's what you know for sure. I have to help people realize that what they know for sure just ain't so.
And you got to when Jen uses your slides to do the same thing on her own with somebody at, you know, in her company, then you've really done something amazing, because now you've infused the ability to change perceptions inside.
You create a disciple.
Yeah, well, so what we do there is a model. So Jen and I've learned the best way to make this repeatable is through role playing, because you model out what those sequences are. You can't, I can't. I have not yet figured out the way to say, here's the sequences of slides and deliver them exactly this way. Because human beings don't process information that way, not new ideas. But there always is a pattern. People will always indicate when they're being resistant, and all of us can sense it. And that's when you shut the fuck up and let them talk a little more.
Right.
Let them tell you why they're resisting. Agree with them. You don't need to own that, because what they're telling you is, there's something I don't buy into it. So you got to explore it. And you need to know that there's a, you know, common path there. Then you let them talk about it and you say, now that we're on the same page, what do you think of this? You don't pitch it. If you pitch
Right,
it,
you just ask them. Right. That's what's so great about the approach.
they react negatively when you have a style that says, what do you think of this? And we can tailor it the way that you want to. How would you see it? So I spend a lot of time on helping people paint or envision how it'll work. And then because Jen is engaged, it's easier for her to take it. When people are participating passively, like, so at Omnitrax, Brooke is highly engaged. Cindy was passive. Like, I want to see
Right.
deliverables. She
Right.
thinks she's engaged, but that's the difference is, are you engaged? Are you going to go through the experience like we're all going through the experience? Then you can change perspectives, and then you can change lots of people, because it only takes 3 or 4 people, because most of the time it's actually getting people to actually feel comfortable to call out the bullshit that everybody's dealing with. Most people don't even want to bring it up. So all it does is it's like that video of the guy who's dancing and then somebody else mimics him, and then because once it's modeled, then you create a movement of all those people dancing. I'll send it out, but that's really what we're looking for, is put things out until you get a vibe, and then we have to model out what's the process here. What technology can we use? Because slides are technology, by the way. What information do we put together? The information that's on the slides is information. How we structure it, how we think it through. How does it look and feel? That's all information modeling. And then who is it, and what's their humanness? So there's a lot there just to get people to think something different.
Yep. Hey, I apologize, but I gotta go. We have to meet people soon.
We're people.
I have guests arriving in 25 minutes, and I have a list of chores to do.
Right. Yeah, it's a good time to wrap up. But I think can we just go around and say what we got out of this
Absolutely.
for everybody, and then we can wrap up? Like, what did you think? Basically, what did you think on Saturday when you got this, and what do you think today?
I think we've got our work cut out for us, but I think we're excited and motivated to tackle the challenge. But it seems a lot more clear to me what we're up against, what we need to get done.
I was excited by the exercise because I have this. It made me realize that we did not have the left side framed all the way through to sustainability, and so it just triggered for me this broader picture of both things being required to get this fully installed, and then the process of actually doing it and going through it with Joe on the toast making and drawing conclusions from it, which is why I love that process, got us to here. And then we were like, wow, this is the Speedy system. And we were just able to connect those dots. So it was a great sort of week of process design and ideation around this that moved the ball, I think, for me personally. So that's what I got out of it.
On Saturday, I was focused on the way the challenges I had in front of me to deliver what I thought the business needed. And today I understand much more clearly that we have bigger problems than that in helping our customers understand, consume the experience of the change that they have to go through. And that unless we solve that, everything else we're working for isn't going to be sticky.
As for me, I'm glad Dave left up this slide. When I received the email on Saturday, I've already said this, I was more fearful, but less fearful than in the past. I definitely suffered from walking into stinking thinking. No doubt about that until Monday's presentation. But now I feel like the guy in here in the slide that's Dave has up. I feel like I'm the guy over here making toast. If they were ever making toast at McDonald's, that would be me. So
They have a toaster in there.
yeah, so
But just don't make the coffee because you're going to make it too hot.
yeah, exactly. So that was my journey this week. All I can say is where I was last Saturday and where I am tonight. It's not even a full week, but I'm fucking pumped about where we've been, where we're going, and where we're headed. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah. Here, here.
Amen.
Yeah, and for me, you know, I learned a long time ago when stuff like that comes in, just be like, you remember Mikey from the old commercials? Like Mikey likes it, he'll do anything.
Yeah.
It's kind of, oh great, another email from Scott. Yay! Okay, Mikey. I'm gonna Mikey this because I always get something out of it. So I don't actually know where it's going half the time, but I just didn't get, you know, try to do the best I can, and so I'm always excited about it. But I think this one was really because of the orchestrator orb. Yeah, I was empathizing with him trying to pull it off, and then I was on a couple of calls with him this week, and it's like, you know, it's just a lot going on, and you know, people want their answers. So I think looking at the before and after is pretty amazing. And also, I mean, Scott can only answer this, but the teams that I've been on where Scott's been trying to catalyze, to me, this is the furthest along in terms of
Not even
providing value.
Not even close.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
one of the things that I can do for you guys is kind of triangulate, you know, after working this long with Scott, like you guys are actually, to me, further along than a lot of any other team that I've seen.
Yeah,
Scott.
we're recognized. Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
so that's
Yeah,
to take comfort in that. I mean, it's still a lot to figure out to Tim's point, but there's you know, we're climbing the mountain and we're doing something that nobody's ever done before. So be Navy SEALs, you know, that's where I'm at. Like, heck yeah, I get to finally talk about the stuff I've been thinking about for a long time.
Vision, you know, helps you get there.
Yeah.
I have another customer I have to go take care of.
Yes. How about you, Walter?
Yeah, so I'd say just real quick, as I listen to this, I haven't seen the slides. Love, again, everyone's presentation. I think the big thing, just when I think about change real quick, and I'm thinking about all you guys. So, you know, the big picture, you know, I'm going to go back to the value piece. What is the value behind the change? So driving to that awareness, the ideas. So you guys from Monday to today have even bigger concepts and ideas that you did beforehand on Monday. Not that you didn't on Monday have good ideas, but they've expanded, which is fantastic. It also falls into the next category. I see change, desire, and willingness. Willingness to change, because willingness and desire creates growth. And at the same time, I've heard a lot of folks today say, and I have empathy for this, is in essence, you know, you had to go through a process to feel uncomfortable, to feel comfortable. And there's a form of, we all go through the process. If we're going to change to be successful at anything, there has to be failure. There has to be.
Yeah.
And I don't mean big failure, but there has to be. And the more you feel comfortable with failure, the better you are, and the more willing you change and drive to bigger results quicker. Also, the knowledge of behind the team and what we're learning is fantastic. That's part of the next process and change, because once you get that desire and willingness, you can really begin to galvanize and clarity around the knowledge of the change to take the next step, to take action for the change. And then persistence after the fact is so important. And I see everyone doing that, and that's really valuable. So that's my thoughts.
Awesome. So here are my thoughts. One of the things that's really scary is to do an exercise like this in the middle of a lot of work that's going on. When your client is also starting to get anxious, you know, in deliverable mode. But we're not going to be able to service our clients if we don't make some of these concepts that we talk past ourselves more concrete. At the end of the day, IQVIA is about orchestration. At the end of the day, Brian, Mimecast is about orchestration. Most of the businesses that we're going to run into have a digital business. We're in a digital economy. What's the central thing about a digital economy? It's about the experience. We just have to force ourselves to make experience more concrete, and businesses that sell a whole bunch of products and services have to simplify or have to make that experience cohesive or come together. You can't do that without any of these new concepts. And if we're not going to go build it, ain't going to happen.
Right. And the more the disconnect, the greater the productitis.
Exactly. So in order to, if we're going to pride ourselves on, like we're patting ourselves on the back for coming up with the term productitis, great. Okay, cool. We discovered COVID. Awesome. Now go cure it. Right?
Right.
I don't want to walk around with a goddamn mask on my mouth the whole time. So how do we go about curing it? Well, we can't do the same things the same way. So we have to, we know we have to overcome silos. We know that in a digital world, information is embedded in technology. Process is informed by information, and process generates information. People, like, all of these different variables happen within this one environment. So what I'm going to try to do is share with y'all what I've learned in our little controlled environment of just this exercise. Everything that I learned about all the different technology, because email is a technology, is it? Or is email an information source? Which is it? What about process? We say trust the process. Well, what the fuck is the goddamn process? And then people, like all of us together, are we judging ourselves? Even if we put a score out there, I worded it to where it was not judgmental, but because it's a score 1 to 5, how did you take it? As human beings, we probably all took it as judgment. What the fuck is that? So how do we overcome the people shit? I don't know. I just feel like for me personally, I feel way farther down the road, you know, I'll sleep on it over the weekend and come up with some stuff that we could do next week, you know, to advance the ball forward. But this was awesome. I'm probably going to learn a lot of all y'all's feedback. So I'm looking forward to hearing all the things that you guys learned from it. I'm very much looking forward to Brian and Walter talking. So I think I've sold both of you what I see for both of you. I'm looking forward to Walter talking to Dave about these things. And Tim, I'm looking forward to talking to you about how we have 2 challenges with our graphics. One is to get the idea across. And the second challenge will be how to communicate it empathetically to a whole bunch of other people. Like they're 2 different but related things. And, you know, somehow we're doing that and not doing that at the same time. But, you know, I think it's something we can learn. We can keep learning on.
Yep,
Awesome.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, fantastic week, guys. Again, another banner week. We accomplished lots of things. Great stuff.
Yep, and Mimecast is working on getting budget approval now. Or budget sign off or what, you know.
Yeah.
Budget something.
Yeah. It's great team effort on that. Get ready for another one.
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, have a great weekend, guys.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
enjoy.
too.
Thanks.
Thank
All right,
you.
Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.